Okay, today's lesson will be on multi-digit division. Make sure you give that the title for this page, and this is page number 31. There are three ways you will see division problems. The first way you'll probably see them will be a number with the divide sign like this with another number. Another way you might see a division problem is the number that's being divided inside a box and the number that's doing the dividing on the outside. The last way you might see it is in fraction form. But what's important for you to know is that all of these mean the same exact thing. It means this number right here, which is known as the dividend, is being divided up by the divisor, and your answer would be the quotient. Okay, so the important part to remember is that while all of these forms you might see, this one's going to be the most useful for us for doing division by hand. So I want you to skip one line and I want you to draw a division box. Okay, inside the division box, we're going to write dividend. This is the number that is being divided. Oftentimes our errors come because we put the wrong number inside the box. Okay, this is the dividend, the number that is being divided. Okay, over here is our divisor, the number doing the dividing, or how many ways it's being divided up. And our answer is the quotient, and the quotient is what goes on top. Okay, now that that's been reviewed, today we're going to be talking about multi-digit division, meaning we're going to be dividing by numbers that are larger than one digit. So we're going to be dealing with 2 and 3 digit divisors. Okay, what I'd like you to do to make things easier and more organized, when you're using line, paper, and division, I want you to turn your notebook so that way you have your lines going in columns. This will help you to keep your work a little bit more organized. So the first problem I want to do with you is 351 divided by 9. So here's how you're going to set it up. I want you to write 351 then I want to divide box over the top of it. So this is our dividend, and we're dividing it by 9. So with this, we're going to say how many times will 9 go into this place value. So we're in the hundreds place value. This is how many hundreds I get out of it. Will 9 go into 3? No. So this is where you were taught to either put an X or a 0. I prefer the 0 because you're saying there are 0 hundreds in this number. So 9 times 0 is 0. So if I minus in that place value, that tells me I don't have anything there. I'm now going to look at the tens place value. One of the biggest errors I see is when people don't know what place value they're looking at. So see how this lines up with the hundreds? Well, I'm through with the hundreds place. Now I'm moving to the tens place. Now how many times will 9 go into 35? 9 goes into 35 3 times. 3 times 9 is 27. But now see how I'm looking at my tens place value. 35 minus 27. 5 minus 7 I can't do, so I'm going to borrow. 15 minus 7 is 8, and 2 minus 2 is 0. So I have 8 tens left over. I can't put 9 into 8, so now I'm going to move to the next place value, the ones. 9 goes into 81, 9 times perfectly. So 9 times 9 is 81. When I reach 0 and no more digits left up here, I know that I am done with my division problem. So my answer is 39 times. This went in nice and perfectly. Sometimes we don't. And if we don't, if we've finished through to here, whatever's left here is our remainder. And I think most of you should remember that. Okay, we're going to try a problem, only this time we're going to have a 2-digit divisor. Okay, so I want you to scoot over here about 2 lines. 31 is going to be our divisor. And inside our division box, our dividend is going to be 878. Okay, now just like with the other one, we went, okay, how many times would 9 go into 3? Well, we're going to do the same thing here. How many times will 31 go into 8? It will not go in, so I have 0 hundreds in this number. Now notice how everything is going to be lined up nice and neat. That's where a lot of people mess up because they don't pay attention to which place value they're looking at. So 0 times 31 is 0. I'm still left with 8 hundredths, but now I'm going to be moving into the tens place. So 31 will go into 8. How many times? This is where estimating is helpful. This is close to 30. 30 times 3 is 90, so that's probably a little too much. So it's probably only going to go in 2 times. Okay, well, I like to do my work nearby, so I'm going to do 87, or not 87, sorry, 31 times 2. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. That gives me 62. If I did one more, that would be 93, and that would be too much. So 2 times is as many times as it will go into in the tens place. So minus 62. Notice how this is just like over here, except for you probably can't do this in your head. Okay, now we say if we're taking out 62 of those tens, how many tens will we have left over? 7 minus 2 is 5. 8 minus 6 is 2. So we have 25 tens left over, but I need groups of 31, so that is not enough. So now I need to go down to the ones place. So I'm going to bring the 8 down here, and now I'm looking at 258 ones. How many times does 31 go into 258? Here's again where we can estimate 30. 30 times 6 is 180, so that's a little low. 30 times 8 is 240. That seems pretty close. So I'm going to see what 31 times 8 is going to be. So 31 times 8. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 3 is 24. That's going to be as close as I can get. So I'm going to put an 8 here. So minus 248. That's going to leave me with 0 here, 1 here. So I have 10. Now, since I'm only after a meter, I just go until I run out of digits here. And I've gone to my ones place. That means these guys cannot be put in any equal groups. So this is where we're going to have a remainder of 10. So it went in 28 equal times, and 10 units were left over. Now, sometimes we end up with bigger numbers. Sometimes we have to divide by 3-digit numbers. So I'm going to do a 3-digit one right over here. So let's just make a line here so that way we don't confuse these. Okay, the next one I want you to do is I want you to do 1,462, and we're going to divide that by 365. Now this seems huge, but this is where our estimating skills can come in handy. How many times do you think we can fit? This would be close to about 400, right? So 400 times what would give us 400 times 3 is 1,200. So that's a good place for me to think. But since that's an overestimate, maybe 400 times 4, that's 1,600. So somewhere in between there, I'm going to try 4 and see what happens with this. So down here, I'm going to do 365 times 4. Now, will 365 go into 1? No. So we won't have anything in the hundreds place. If I move to the thousands place, if I move to the hundreds place, can I fit that in there? No again. And some of you understand that you don't need to write all these zeros. I do it so that you can keep track of where you are in your numbers. So Will it go into 146? Nope, still too small. So that's how we know we are going to end up looking at the ones place with 1,462. So 365 times 4, and this is where our estimate came in. That goes in 4 times. I was looking at the entire number. So 4 times 5 is 20. Regroup 2. 4 times 6 is 24. Plus 2 is 26. Regroup 2. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 plus 2 is 14. Okay, that is about as close as we can get without going over. So I'm going to write a 4 here, and I'm going to minus 1,460. And that's going to leave me with 2 here, 0, 0, and 0. So I still have 2 left over. So it went in completely 4 times with just a little left over. So this would be 4 remainder 2. Okay, after this we're going to start learning about decimal division. But if you can get used to this idea of long division with multi-digit numbers, then the lessons after this will be much easier. Okay, make sure that you get this written in your notes, and we'll see you tomorrow.